Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. We are tackling a big one today. The question of, can you actually train your brain for entrepreneurial success?
Ooh, that is the question, isn't it?
Yeah. And we are diving deep into mindset mastery for startups.
By David Adu.
That's right, by David Adu to find out.
Yeah, it's a fascinating read,
Yeah.
Adu really emphasizes the psychological side of being an entrepreneur, like way beyond the usual business plans, and marketing strategies.
Yeah, I was hooked from the introduction because he really argues that, mindset is the ultimate make or break factor. Like,
Yeah.
you could have the most brilliant idea in the world, but if your head is not in the game,
Yeah.
game over.
It's not quite that simple, of
Yeah.
course, but I mean, he makes a really strong case. He starts by, diving into Carol Dweck's work on, fixed versus growth mindsets. Like, do you think your abilities are set in stone? Or can you actually develop and grow through effort?
Right.
That's like the fundamental question.
And for entrepreneurs, I think that's especially critical because you're talking about a world of, constant challenges and setbacks and competition.
Yeah.
A fixed mindset sounds like a recipe for just giving up pretty quickly.
Exactly. That's where this growth mindset comes in.
Right.
It's about viewing challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to learn and adapt.
Yeah.
And he even uses Airbnb as a prime example in the book. Remember their early days,
Yeah.
struggling to get funding.
Yeah.
And instead of, panicking, they turned it into a chance to deeply connect with their community.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. They were like hosting these events during a design conference and basically turning their apartment into a pop-up hotel.
Yes.
Such a clever move.
It's beyond clever, though.
Yeah.
It speaks to this, core principle of a growth mindset, that ability to be resourceful and creative and see the potential in something that other people would just see as a dead end. Like they actively looked for the opportunity within the challenge.
Yeah. Okay, so we're seeing how a growth mindset can fuel, creative problem solving.
Yeah.
But what about the emotional side of things? Because, the startup world can be downright terrifying at times.
Absolutely.
And Adu spends a good chunk of the book talking about the fear of failure.
Rightfully so. I mean, it's completely natural to feel fear when you're putting yourself out there, taking these risks, and potentially facing, public rejection of your ideas.
It's like walking a tightrope without a net.
Mm-hmm.
But Adu flips the script here. He doesn't say ignore the fear, Instead, he argues that it's all about how you think about failure.
It's about reframing it,
Yeah.
shifting that perspective from seeing failure as this ultimate defeat to viewing it as a valuable learning experience.
It's like that saying, every master was once a disaster.
Yes.
But how do you actually do that? How do you shift from feeling crushed by a setback to seeing it as a stepping stone?
That's where he gets really specific, which I appreciated. He provides actual techniques, for reframing failure. And one that stood out to me was, analyzing what went wrong without attaching judgment or self-blame.
Right, so it's less about I messed up and more about, okay, what can I learn from this so I don't repeat the same mistake?
Exactly. It's about becoming like a detective of your own failures, looking for those clues that will help you improve. He also talks about celebrating what did go right, even in a failure situation.
Right, so even if a product launch totally flops, maybe you learned a ton about your target audience in the process or you refined your marketing message.
Yes. The point is, there's almost always something valuable to be gained from any experience, even the ones that don't go according to plan. And he brings up some really compelling examples to kind of drive this home.
Yeah, the examples. Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, her story is a masterclass in reframing failure. All of that rejection she faced early on, and instead of letting it defeat her, she just kept using each no as fuel to refine the product and refine her pitch.
And look at her now. Global brand.
Yeah, it's like she embodied that growth mindset before it even had a name. Speaking of inspiring examples, he also talks about Warby Parker, going head-to-head with these giants in the eyewear industry.
That takes some serious guts.
Yeah, and that's where another key concept comes in resilience. It's not just about bouncing back from these setbacks. It's about using those falls to gain valuable insights and actually become stronger because of them.
Right.
Warby Parker could have easily gotten intimidated, by the competition, but they just focused on what made them unique, their vision, their style, their social impact.
Right.
Instead of trying to be like the big players, they doubled down on their own strengths.
Yes.
Which I think is a great takeaway for anybody, not just entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. We all face situations where we feel outmatched or intimidated.
Yeah.
It's how do we reframe that feeling and use it to our advantage?
Yeah. This is already making me rethink my approach to everything. But before we get too carried away, let's talk about something that Adu emphasizes, That's not just about, our internal state. He talks a lot about the importance of building a strong support network. Why is that so crucial, especially for entrepreneurs?
Well, because starting and running a business can be incredibly isolating. You're dealing with constant pressure, making tough decisions, and often feeling like you're going it alone.
It's like you're on this wild roller coaster and no one else understands the ups and downs that you're experiencing.
Exactly.
So having those people who get it, whether it's mentors or fellow entrepreneurs or even just, friends and family who offer encouragement, that can be the difference between, throwing in the towel and pushing through those tough times.
Yeah, and he even suggests that a support network can help you overcome that fear of failure that we were just talking about.
Oh, interesting.
Because when you feel connected to other people who've been there, who understand the struggles, it makes you feel less alone, you know? Less like any setback is a personal reflection of your worth.
Right. It's not just about getting advice. It's about feeling seen and understood. And he actually gives some really tangible tips for building that network. Things like attending industry events, joining startup incubators, or even just connecting with people online. It's about actively seeking out your tribe, those people who speak your language and can offer support and guidance when you need it most.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a solid foundation here. Growth mindset, reframing failure, building resilience, finding your support system. It's like the ultimate toolkit for navigating the emotional ups and downs of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
But there's another layer I think we need to explore, and it's one that's especially relevant in today's world, and that's the role of technology and how it impacts mindset. That's where we'll pick up in part 2.
Welcome back. When we talk about, the rapid pace of change in the startup world, we can't ignore the elephant in the room.
Technology, it's like technology is on fast forward and the startup world is just trying to keep up.
Right.
But Adu argues that technology isn't just this, external force acting on us. It actually plays a huge role in shaping our mindsets.
That's such a good point. He says that the digital age requires a whole new level of mental flexibility and adaptability.
Yeah.
A fixed mindset clinging to old ways of doing things just won't cut it in this environment.
Right. So it's not enough to just be, tech savvy. You need to have a mindset that embraces change and experimentation and even a bit of uncertainty.
Exactly. Think about the skills that are most in demand right now. Things like problem solving, critical thinking, creativity. These are all skills that thrive in a growth mindset environment.
Yeah, it's like technology is pushing us to become more adaptable, more resilient, more open to new ideas. Adu even talks about how technology can amplify the fear of failure.
That makes sense. The digital world makes everything so visible. Your successes, your failures, it's all out there for everyone to see.
It's like the stakes are higher, the pressure is more intense.
Right.
But Adu argues that we can actually use technology to our advantage when it comes to building resilience.
Yes. He talks about the importance of using technology to gather data, to track your progress, and to identify areas where you can improve.
It's like having a constant feedback loop, a way to measure your growth and adjust your course in real time.
Yes.
And speaking of real time, Adu doesn't shy away from the fact that technology is constantly evolving. What might be cutting edge today could be obsolete tomorrow.
Exactly. And that's where the growth mindset really shines. It's about being a lifelong learner, being curious, and being willing to adapt to new tools and platforms as they emerge.
Right, and it's not just about passively consuming information, it's about actively experimenting, testing, iterating.
Exactly. He really encourages entrepreneurs to embrace a mindset of experimentation,
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to try new things, to fail fast, and to learn from your mistakes.
It's like in the digital age, failing fast is almost a badge of honor. But it's not just about individual entrepreneurs adapting. Adu argues that technology has huge implications for company culture as well.
He talks about the need for organizations to foster a culture of continuous learning and innovation. This means encouraging employees to experiment, to take risks, and to share their ideas openly.
It's about creating an environment where failure is seen as a learning opportunity, not a reason to punish or shame people.
Exactly. Because if people are afraid to fail, they're less likely to take risks and innovation will stagnate.
Right. Adu even suggests that technology can be a powerful tool for building a more inclusive and collaborative work environment.
He talks about how, digital communication platforms can break down traditional hierarchies and create a more level playing field for sharing ideas and feedback.
It's like technology can help to democratize the innovation process.
But it's not just about the tools themselves. It's about how those tools are used, and that comes back to mindset.
Right. So are you saying that technology is a reflection of our mindsets? that it amplifies who we already are, for better or for worse.
That's a great way to put it. If you have a fixed mindset, technology might make you more rigid, more fearful of change. But if you have a growth mindset, technology can become your superpower, helping you to learn, adapt, and evolve at an accelerated pace.
It's striking how many of the examples Adu uses in the book are companies that have leveraged technology in really innovative ways.
Like Airbnb, Uber, Warby Parker Spanx. These are all companies that have disrupted traditional industries by embracing technology and using it to create new solutions and business models.
And it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the mindset behind it.
Exactly. It's about having the vision to see the potential of technology, the courage to experiment, and the resilience to adapt when things don't go according to plan.
You know, what's interesting is this conversation about technology and mindset is incredibly relevant to the current landscape. We're in the midst of this AI revolution,
We are.
and it's raising all these questions about the future of work, creativity, even what it means to be human.
It's a fascinating and somewhat daunting time to be alive.
It is, and Adu's insights about the importance of a growth mindset seem more relevant than ever.
Absolutely.
You know, we need to be adaptable, resilient, and willing to embrace the unknown.
And we need to be mindful of how technology is shaping our thoughts, our behaviors, our relationships.
Adu's book provides a framework, I think, for navigating this complex landscape, for using technology as a tool for growth rather than letting it control us.
Yeah, he encourages us to ask ourselves, how can we use technology to amplify our strengths, to overcome our weaknesses, and to create a more fulfilling and meaningful life?
I like that this deep dive is making me see the possibilities, both the exciting ones and the ones that require a bit more courage to face.
That's the spirit. And speaking of courage, one of the things that Adu talks about that really resonated with me is this idea of embracing the unknown. That's what we'll pick up in part 3.
Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, after spending all this time with David Adu's Mindset Mastery for Startups, I'm realizing that this idea of embracing the unknown might be the most crucial mindset shift of all, especially for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's a theme that runs throughout the whole book.
Yeah.
Adu argues that the ability to navigate uncertainty, to be comfortable not having all the answers, is what separates those startups that thrive from the ones that get stuck.
Right. It makes sense when you think about it. The startup world is inherently unpredictable. You know,
Right.
you're constantly facing new challenges, adapting to changing market conditions, making decisions with incomplete information.
It's like you're sailing in uncharted waters and there's no guarantee that you'll reach your destination.
Exactly. But Adu argues that you can actually prepare for the unknown.
Okay.
Now that's intriguing. How do you prepare for something you can't predict? It sounds like a paradox.
It does, but he offers some really practical strategies, and one of the key ones is scenario planning.
Okay.
It's about envisioning, different potential outcomes, both positive and negative, and developing strategies for how you would handle each situation.
So it's like having a playbook for different possible futures.
Yeah.
It doesn't eliminate the uncertainty, but it can make it feel less overwhelming.
Exactly. It's about shifting from a mindset of, hoping for the best to a mindset of being prepared for anything.
Right.
And that preparedness, that mental agility can make a huge difference when you're facing those inevitable curveballs that come with entrepreneurship.
He also talks about the importance of building a strong support network, which we touched on earlier, but it seems even more relevant in this context of embracing the unknown.
Absolutely. When you're facing uncertainty, having a network of trusted advisors, mentors, and fellow entrepreneurs can be invaluable. They can offer different perspectives, share their own experiences, and provide guidance when you're feeling lost.
It's like having a team of navigators to help you chart the course when the waters get choppy.
And it's not just about getting advice. It's about having people who believe in you, who support your vision, and who encourage you to keep going even when things get tough.
Because let's be real, there will be times when you want to throw in the towel. The uncertainty, the setbacks, the fear of failure, it can all feel really overwhelming.
Right.
But having that supportive community can make all the difference.
He even suggests that embracing the unknown can actually be a source of excitement and opportunity.
Okay, I'll admit, I'm struggling to see the upside of uncertainty. Usually it just triggers my anxiety.
Sure.
How can you possibly be excited about not knowing what's going to happen?
It's a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing the unknown as a threat, what if you saw it as a chance to explore, to experiment, to discover new possibilities that you wouldn't have even considered if you had stayed within your comfort zone?
I guess that makes sense if you already know the outcome. Where's the adventure?
Yes.
Where's the room for growth and discovery?
Exactly. And think about some of the most successful startups. you know.
Yeah.
They often emerge from a place of embracing the unknown, of seeing a problem that no one else had solved, and having the courage to try something new.
Like Airbnb, they essentially created a whole new industry by reimagining how people travel and experience new places.
Or Uber, they disrupted the transportation industry by connecting riders and drivers through a simple app.
Right, these companies didn't have a roadmap to follow. They were venturing into uncharted territory, and their willingness to embrace the unknown was a key factor in their success. But it's not just about, these groundbreaking innovations.
Right.
Embracing the unknown can apply to smaller, everyday decisions, too.
Absolutely. It could be as simple as trying a new marketing strategy, experimenting with a different product feature, or even just reaching out to someone you admire and asking for advice.
Just being open to new possibilities, even if they feel a bit scary or uncertain.
Mm-hmm. And Dedu argues that this willingness to step outside of your comfort zone is essential for personal growth. He even encourages entrepreneurs to set goals that specifically challenge them to embrace the unknown.
So instead of setting goals that feel safe and achievable, you might set a goal to learn a new skill, to attend an industry event where you don't know anyone, or to pitch your idea to a potential investor, even if you're terrified of rejection.
Exactly. It's about pushing yourself beyond your perceived limits and seeing what you're truly capable of.
As we're wrapping up this deep dive, I'm struck by how Adu's book goes beyond just, providing business advice.
Hmm.
It's really a guide, I think, for cultivating a mindset that can help you navigate not just entrepreneurship, but life in general.
It is. It's about developing resilience, adaptability, a growth mindset, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. These are all qualities that can benefit you in any area of your life.
And it all starts with that fundamental belief that you have the power to shape your own reality, to choose how you respond to challenges, and to create a life that is both fulfilling and impactful.
It's a powerful message, and one that I think we all need to hear, especially in today's world, which feels increasingly complex and unpredictable.
So as we leave you today, we want to leave you with a question that Adu asks in his book. What is one area in your life where you feel uncertain? Maybe it's related to your work, your relationships, your personal goals, or even just your overall sense of direction.
How could a shift in mindset, a willingness to embrace the unknown, help you approach that area differently? Could you see it as an opportunity for growth, for
Yeah.
discovery, for adventure, rather than something to fear?
We encourage you to explore that question, to experiment with different perspective, and to see where it leads you, because the journey of growth, of embracing the unknown, is a lifelong adventure.
It is.
And with the right mindset, anything is possible. Thanks for joining us.